you should start to see some signs of life in your graft fairly quickly. This one, it's a nice big piece of Scion wood. I don't want to move it too much because it's still forming the connections here in the vascular system. But we see here that the bud is starting to swell. So this is a sign of life, and hopefully this means that this will be a successful graft. There are some cases though where a Scion can outgrow the bottom, but with here just this one bud, this is a good sign that the Scion's in good shape, and hopefully that our connections here in between the rootstock and the Scion are being successful. And next we're going to look at a more established graft. So here we are about exactly 2 months since our initial pecan grafting, and you can see most of these were fairly successful. We had so far about a 94 to 95% take, and you have much more growth on a vigorous pecan graft than you might expect. This one I would say is probably a low vigor one that we had take, and even it is having some good successful growth. And you can see some down here almost already look like established trees, and we will be going through and staking and doing some tree training soon. We've already put some fertilizer to push the successful grafts, and these should hopefully be ready to sell with either this fall or a year from now. So here we have one that is a successful graft, but only about one bud took. You can see here these on this other side didn't take. If this continues to grow, it'll still be successful. It just may be a little bit behind this one here, which still was only about 2 buds taking, but it's just a much more vigorous, successful graft, and will be sellable much sooner than this one.
Whatever you want, some aerate.
So what we're doing is we're looking at 2 different grafts here. This one, unfortunately, was not a successful graft. You can see where the bud started, but it just didn't have a good enough connection. What you're seeing here is everything below the rootstock. And what you would normally want to go through is take these off. Now you want to leave some potentially on this one. Since it's not a successful graft, we can go back and graft next year. But this one was a successful graft. Here's our buds, and just as a part of what we've had to do already several times with these is you have to go through and take off the shoots below the graft here, so that it doesn't waste energy growing there, that we will focus on pushing this new growth here.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so what I want to visit about right here is the quality of your Scion wood. On these large successful grafts here, we were able to source really high quality Scion wood and store it in ideal conditions, and that made a difference in grafting percentage. So while we had 90 to 95% take here, on this other wood that was marginal, but it was rare varieties we're trying to get a start of, there's some that we were lucky to get 50% take. So your percent take will be highly dependent on not only the health of the trees you're grafting on, but the Scion wood you put on here. You can see this one is attempted, but it's just had a lot of small buds, and it just has not made it through the process. Now, a lot of them did, and we will get a start, and we will be able to use these to produce healthy Scion wood later on. So just keep that in mind whenever you're grafting, that don't use marginal Scion wood unless you have to on a rare variety. Try to use big, healthy pieces that have a lot of carbohydrates that will push that successful growth. Jackson. So it's a variety I definitely wanted to get some of because it's a great pollinator for Elliott. But it's hard to find Jackson because it doesn't make a ton of pecans. Not a lot of commercial people are interested in it. But since we're really trying to get, for this nursery, trees started for the homeowner market, wanted to definitely get some Jackson. It's just this Scion wood, a part of it, it had too many buds, and they were close together, which shows that the growth was not ideal and as fast as it could have been on the tree itself before it was harvested, and that's why we had a harder time getting the successful graft here. As opposed to the Elliott, the buds were, it's the right balance. You don't want that growing so fast that the buds are really far apart, but we were able to have healthy, large wood with significant bud development, and that really contributed to better grafting take. And we know, even though these trees were smaller, that was not the factor, because we used this type of Elliott wood on trees like this, and we're still hitting that 90% take. So in this case, for these right here, it was the Scion wood quality that contributed to our reduced take. This has been Michael Polozola with the LSU AgCenter.